All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to February's window shopping episode. If you're new to the channel or have no idea what this is, every month I like to look at the central market and talk about the notable items. So whether you're a beginner or an endgame player, some of these items will be notable. Maybe various items are up or down from various events, and so we talk about whether it's better to buy, sell, or, hold on to an item. And yeah, so let's see. As we all know, this economy is based off various events and whatever happens. So, like, for example, right now we have an ongoing event that you could drop those pieces for the cup, and it's these thingies, right? So chances are probably the prices are going to go down a little bit for these things while people are upgrading their accessories. So yeah, we're going to talk about all the notable items. All right, let's start off with weapons with Black Stars. It doesn't really matter which one in particular, but we're going to be talking about Black Stars more than Godders because, let's see. Okay, so the one that really matters is Pen these days, and the price has actually been going up, and I noticed that, and I was like, I wonder why. And if we looked at last month, around this time, they were like 60 bill, and now they're, roughly, 70 to 80. Chances are, if you're looking to buy it, you're probably going to be able to buy one at minimum price. Just put an order, and then it'll fill within like a day or two. So yeah, that's been going up very interestingly. I think we're at the point, realistically, where people are getting enough of those, what are these? The thingies from the weekly bosses. And is it this thing? Yeah, these, to be able to get a second or first Black Star. And people are closing in to 100. And so basically they're converting to Sovereign. I assume that's what's happening. I missed out a few weeks on, the hard mode bosses while I was learning it. But I think people are, very close to 100. And that's probably what it's from. All right. Awakening weapons. I assume Awakening is very similar to main hand because the prices are usually the same. Yeah, so a little bit less on the minimums, but probably roughly the same in price. So if you're looking to enhance it, whichever one you think can sell for more. All right, offhands. Now, this one's a little bit tricky because there's a lot of different choices for you, whether you're a beginner or not. So Kudum is the entry-level PvE offhand, whereas at the end game, very minimally, the Black Star is better than the Kudum, and the Maneuver is just for PvP, and if you want to flex big AP number, that's what it's for. So let's see. These are going up, but it's not really like that much up. It's maybe a couple hundred mil more, but even then, probably the same. Oh my god, let me click this dice thingy. 4. Okay, never mind. So, Black Stars, I actually think that it hasn't really changed much. So as of last month, they were around 60 bill, and it says 767, but like realistically, if you want to sell it quick, you're min pricing it. So it is technically up, but if you can sell it at maximum, which is kind of difficult these days. So I think if you were to enhance, obviously main and Awakening are the way to go right now. Probably the main hand. All right. Armors. We're going to reduce the time on all of this one and just go directly into Fallen God. Let's see. I am not sure why this is going up. Like, through time, it should be going down, but I assume the newer players are probably getting to the point where they're looking for all of this. And so what I wanted to talk about in terms of gear and all that stuff is if you're going to enhance it yourself, I have self-crafted all 4 Fallen God armors, essentially. And here's what you're gonna do. From base to pry, you start at like an 80 stack. Maybe go up to like 110 or something. And then if you have a 110 stack, you can start there up to like a 150 for duo. And from duo to try, I'd probably go like 150 up to 180-ish. And then from try to tet, you probably use like a mid 240s. I personally used 245 on all of them, and then one of them was around like 280 because it just wouldn't go. But that was also before the pity system was a thing, so I just, you just keep clicking until it goes. So the reason why you use a higher stack is because the tet version is kind of expensive. And back in the day, these used to be on the same price as Pen Blackstars. This was before like Kharazad and Sovereign Weapons. So yeah, these kind of held up in price because considering these are still best in slot armors. So I would still recommend using the highest, like a higher stack. Probably start at around maybe 230-ish at minimum, and then go up to like 280 or something. If you build a 300 going off of this for some reason, I would actually save that for Sovereign and or High Kharazad. But even if you did use like a 280 stack on here, it's not even that bad because this is an expensive item, so it's worth doing. And that goes for all 4 pieces, actually. That's what I used on them. Next. Let's see. Accessories. At this point, the only ones we're going to be talking about are Deboreka's and the price of Kharazad for the most part. So Debo rings are... Do I think they are worth 220? Kinda, yeah. But at the same time, you know how last month or, a couple weeks ago, this is at an all-time low at like 180. That's because we had more of a drop rate event going on. I mean, we still do, but, eventually things go back up again. So I actually think if you're in the market for Kharazad and you're thinking of, should I buy it, like buy a pen or a tet and then, enhance it myself, or just buy it at pen and then not have to worry about it? On average, I think it is actually cheaper to straight up just make it yourself from base. That is assuming you know how to fail stack and build like a 250 from Reblath or, as cheap as possible. And on average with like non-terrible RNG that you should be able to just get it, normally for either cheaper or breaking even on the prices. But it does require a lot more Cron Stones and RNG versus just buying it. So if you do save up 200 bill and just buy it, it's not even like the end of the world. You skip using all the fail stacks and everything. So either one, there's no right or wrong option. It's more of do you like the thrill of enhancing or not? But in terms of averages and pricing, I think it's probably a little bit cheaper to self-craft it. All right, Debo necklaces. Yeah, if you're thinking about buying it, you could probably get it for, like 180. That's what I think is the realistic price nowadays. And yeah, good times. I remember grinding Ash Forest. I actually still am for the artifact, not the Debo. But this is probably the first one you want to go for because it gives the most AP of all the accessories. So you want to go for that and then Kharazad or just self-craft it. Ash Forest is not really fun either, so if you just bought it, it's not even a big deal. Alright, so Debo belts at 200 bill. If you have enough AP to grind Crypt of Resting Thoughts, I think it's actually better to self-craft this one, simply because the drop rate for belts is actually, for some reason, oddly high at Crypt of Resting Thoughts. Like, sometimes they get like 2 belts an hour, sometimes 1, but like other spots you might get like 0 to 1 an hour, and Crypt you get like at least 1 an hour on average, which I don't know. I feel like self-crafting this is probably the way to go. And as for earrings, So I know a lot of people that still have pen distos because it does give more sheet AP and will put you up into a higher bracket. However, if you're thinking of Kharazad versus distos, it essentially gives you the same amount of AP because it gives you the Jin, like the red crystal, but it doesn't put you up into the sheet AP. So depending on which one is better, you get that one. However, even if it's the same AP, whether you have Kharazad or distos, you are losing the DP in terms of, you know, like having pen is like -5, and if you have 2 of them, it's -10. So yeah, I actually think that going Kharazad and converting these is the better choice, because eventually this is going to become a dead end upgrade, and 21 is, you know, the number you want to go past, right? And plus, when you grind higher end spots, you don't want to have -10 DPE. It may not be super noticeable, but eventually going forward, you know, they're going to obviously continue creating grind spots at higher levels, and, you know, that's going to be a hindrance later on. So I think Kharazad, that's what you should do. All right, so other than that, Debo ring or Debo earrings. If you can grind the spots, I think there's like 4 or 5 spots that you can get Debo earrings from these days. A lot of them are Valencia spots, and Olin's. I believe Olin's has them. But yeah, these are kind of annoying to do, actually. And so if you bought it, it's not a big deal. And you also need 2 of them. So it's really up to you. These are the last accessories you should be upgrading. Of all your accessory slots, earrings always last. And yeah, I think that's it. So let's talk about other stuff now. I guess let's go talk about the notable things. So yesterday I made a video on all the artifacts and Lightstone combos, so everything I do, PvE, PvP, and all the life skills I do. So iridescence, you basically use an iridescence for pretty much everything, right? And so they're not at the highest it's been, but they're kind of in the middle. So if you could get one for like 1.6, that's probably good enough, realistically. You're going to need a lot of them. And to give you a quick idea of what I use, like these are the 10 that I have slotted, and like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of those 10 have iridescence in it. So if you want to watch that video, I'll leave a link in the description, and it's actually pretty detailed on, for every life skill, what I consider good. Aside from that, whatever life skill you do, we talk about that in that video. Reforge crystals, or stones, whatever you want to call it. As we all know, the ones that are important and the ones you should get are the ones that are basically sold out. All AP, this is basically mandatory for every class. Back attack is generally better if you know how to play your class well. Otherwise, crit damage is, you know, slightly less damage, but you don't have to be locked in 100% of the time. So if you like min-maxing, back attacks are probably better in most cases. Crit damage is just across the board, you know, good. All damage reduction, you know, just take less damage, always nice. And the next one I would go for is probably Black Spirit Rage. This one, surprisingly, is, you know, low-key good. I've seen people replace this one for an extra damage from like down attack or whatever, or accuracy if you're a PvPer. But I actually think for PvE, Black Spirit Rage recovery is really good. And so when in doubt and picking the ones you think are important, yeah, look at the ones that are max price. That's because people use them. And to give you an idea, like this is actually what I use for my Awakening. We have back attack, crit, AP, all DR, and Black Spirit recovery. And this is the exact same thing for both of them, except one is back attack, one is down attack. Does it really matter? No, just get whatever. All right, so let's see. How is the market for, let's see, Alchemy Stones? Veil's Heart, still max priced 5 years later. Yep. So if you're a new player and you're wondering what should I use, honestly, there's a lot of good choices. If you can't get a Veil's Heart, the next one you should probably go for is let's see. If you use these disposable ones, these aren't even that bad. You get a lot of them from seasonals, and so if you're still using them for PvE, it's fine as well, up until you can get a Veil's Heart and upgrade it. And then even if you use the Spirit Stones, the one-time disposable like purple ones, those are fine. If you're doing like a defensive build, what I would actually recommend for PvEers is this one right here, the Perilla's Star. I believe you get that as a seasonal reward from Fugar. And damage reduction from monsters is always good, just a lot of that. So I think it's something worth getting eventually. And then if you're a life skiller, there's a few options. I personally like the Trance tier the most, but other options I do use are Khan's Heart. I don't use it, but if you have it equipped, it's plus 25 mastery. So if that puts you up into a new bracket, that's good. But if active gathering item drop rate plus 16%, I personally like that one. So it really depends. Are you going for XP? Then use Trance tier. If you're AFK life skilling, Khan's Heart. If you're active gathering, Resplendent is probably better for item drop rate. Let's see. Next, we are talking about life tools. So as we all know, they introduced a bunch of life tools recently, and I think the ones that are worth looking at are the newer ones. Where are they? Yeah, the Manos fishing chair. This one is pretty important. If you can get it at max price, worth. Assuming the worst, if you're trying to self-enhance one, it'll probably cost you around 45 billion, assuming you go hard pity, like failing every step of the way. I think at worst it's around 45 bill. So if you don't want to deal with that, just buy it for 26. I think that's a fair price. Even if it was like 35 billion maximum, that's probably good. Sniper hunting, good. Fishing chair, good. The other two, also good. Probably all the same max price. Yeah. And in terms of, I think that's really it. Let's look at the ship licenses, because we are recently getting a lot of ocean buffs and stuff. So next week, there's going to be blue carrot gear able to be sold on the market, and 35 billion is the high end of plus 10. And I think even then, like 35 billion for a plus 10 blue carrot gear is very low. So once again, endgame stuff. So we talked about all 4 boats and which one is the best. I think realistically, any of these 3 are, good. The balance is probably the worst of them, which is why the price is at the lowest. But really depends. Like, do you want more speed? Do you want to do a mix of bartering and, speed? And or Valor if you want fat damage. I wish Ocean PvP was a thing. And that's why I got my Valor, because we didn't have Naval Fame back in the day, so we could actually practice flagging on each other. Like I would actually do that with my friends. We'd go to a spot and then learn to like turn, rotate, and actually boat PvP. And then they killed that with Naval Fame. So here we are. I don't regret the Valor though. I still love it. But yeah, either of these, all like decent. Depends on what you want to do with it, to be honest. And yeah, I think that's about it. So we talked about all of the stuff that I think are relevant. And pre-owned is, if you get a Tri pre-owned, that's the equivalent of a Tet Manos. And anything above Tri, if you can buy any pre-owned off the market, like above Tri, it's probably worth it, just because the flat enhancement rate is the stopper, and it's just kind of annoying. So it's one of those things where if you are a full life skiller, and even if you have a base pre-owned, I tried that one. I was trying to go for 10. That's straight downgraded. But anyway, as long as you can get like base Preonne, it's the equivalent of like a try at minimum. So try Manos, that is. So it's one of those things I'm working on slowly, but main gear always comes first. But if you're a main life skiller, I would recommend just buying it if you can, because these are kind of annoying. But with that said, that's all I wanted to talk about today. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys learned something. Keep in mind, this is all on the NA server, but my ideas and thoughts of enhancing and everything should still be the same no matter what server you're on. And that's about it. So I have a bunch of guides and stuff I want to talk about going forward in upcoming videos. So if you're new to your channel, hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you come back, and I'm out. See ya.